Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Path of Exile 2 video, I want to talk to you about the two Ascendancy classes for the Witch. At the start of Early Access on December 6th, and at the time of the recording, Early Access is not even out yet, so we're going to be going through the Ascendancy trees for the Blood Mage and Infernalist. Now remember, when you very first started as a Witch, you're a Witch until you get far enough into the game, and you can complete the trials to ascend to either the Blood Mage or the Infernalist, and then start putting points into those trees. But the point here in this video here is just to kind of go through the Ascendancies and see what makes them unique, and maybe it's something that I want to go or you want to go when Early Access does launch. Let's go ahead and talk about the Witch right now. Went ahead and jumped into the forum post here, and there's going to be 12 different Ascendancies to choose from at the start of Early Access. And after Early Access, when they do fully launch, I believe there's going to be way more Ascendancies. So for now, we have 12, which is still quite a lot. Let's go ahead and talk about the Blood Mage first. So this one I've read through a little bit here, and I'm excited to break it down with you. Basically, the Blood Mage is going to be about spending life instead of mana and regenerating that life through different mechanics that this Ascendancy will offer. So the very first mechanic here is going to be your life remnants. This is the very first node you can get here, and what it is a buff. Not only are you getting this buff, you also make it so that this is what enables it so that your skills cost life equal to the cost of mana. So instead of using mana, you're going to be using life to cast your skills. Kind of scary, but there's things here that will hopefully give you the tools to overcome that. The very first one here, as I said, is the life remnants. What this is, there's kind of two pieces to life remnants. Whenever you kill an enemy, you have a chance to spawn a life remnant, which you can go ahead and pick up, and it'll not only heal you, but these remnants also have a chance to overflow your maximum life, increasing your health pool beyond what it could normally be. Now, another way that you can spawn these remnants here is to critically hit a target. And when you critically hit a target, it will spawn a life remnant every few seconds. So if you're going to be wanting to go the Blood Mage and do this, you're definitely going to want to go for high crit chance so you can get out more of those life remnants. Another way you can help out with your life pool and so that you don't die here is Vitality Siphon. 10% of your spell damage is leached as life. Pretty cool. You have a little nice, this one's pretty cool, open source. I don't know how much this will really help with your healing since I haven't played the game yet and I don't really know what all the curses are, but this will make it so all your curses last for an infinite duration. So this will be really nice. Go in, pop it on the pack, and then you don't have to worry about reapplying it until you're on to the next group of enemies. You can also get Blood Barbs. This is going to give you 10% of damage is going to be extra physical damage. You're also going to have it so that your elemental damage you deal contributes to bleeding magnitude. Now, when I first thought about this class, and I mean, it's in the name Blood Mage, I thought I'm probably going to go heavy into the whole bleeding thing, damage over time, physical, but we'll have to see because it is a witch. And but it's nice that you can use elemental abilities to make the monsters take more bleeding damage through. I believe that's what a bleeding magnitude does. Now these next, we're going to help you out with spawning those life remnants with the crits here. You're going to get more crit damage. I guess this won't really help you spawn more, but we are going to crit build, so you're going to want more critical hit damage anyway. But every 40 life you have, you're going to get an extra 1% critical damage bonus. And remember, you can actually overflow your max life through the remnants, so even more critical hit damage there. This really good synergy. Sunder the Flesh is another one where your base critical hit chance for spells is 15%. So again, this will help spawn those life remnants as well. So you're not, because if you're not critting, you're only getting the life remnants when you kill a monster. So you want to crit so you're getting even more so you're not dying. We also have Grasping Wounds. 20% of life loss from hits is prevented. Instead, it's going to be lost over 4 seconds, which will help out. You know, obviously we're doing a healing kind of build as well, so hopefully you have enough life regen to balance that out. And then Crimson Power, gain energy shield from equipped body armor as extra maximum life. So the Blood Mage here, as you can tell, is going to be a couple different things. It looks like is what we're going to be going for. Obviously max life, crit chance, crit damage, and probably bleed damage. Now being able to convert your elemental damage to be able to apply that bleeding magnitude or whatever will amp up your bleeding damage even more. So looking at this, I thought, okay, it's kind of a weird class where you're going to be trying to balance your life and not dying. And as far as like actual power, you're going to have the crit chance, crit damage, as well as that bleeding magnitude. I don't know, when I first saw this class kind of displayed, or this Ascendancy Blood Mage, I thought, oh man, that would be pretty scary to play. And after reading through this, I'm still a little bit on the fence on this. There's other Ascendancies that I find more appealing to start off with. But eventually I do want to try all the Ascendancies at some point. So next up, we have the Infernalist. Now, this one is really interesting, and I think a lot of people, I think this will be a popular choice going into early access. So this one allows you to turn into Lilith, well, a demon form, whatever. But there's more to it than just that. But I mean, that's the highlight here. So let's go ahead and kick it off. The very first one here is Altered Flesh. 20% of cold damage is taken as fire damage. Same thing with lightning damage. And then your physical damage will deal chaos damage. 20% of it will deal chaos. So again, this is a fire build primarily, and then you can have your physical deal chaos. So we'll dig into this a little bit more and kind of see how that's all going to play in here. So this one's going to be a little bit different than the Blood Mage. I feel like this one is going to be more based around energy shield than it is max life. You can see that over here. You can reserve a quarter of your life to gain 1 maximum mana per 6 maximum life that you have. And then down here, you can reserve another quarter of your life to get +1 to maximum energy shield per 8 maximum of life. So maybe you do want to, you're obviously going to want life in there as well, but that'll, I guess it's interesting that it scales energy shield. You can reserve even more life. This sounds terrifying to reserve 75% of your life meter. Wow. And this one will give you more spirit per 25 life. Now, spirit is a separate resource, right? You have health, mana, and then spirit is a resource that you can reserve for different auras and minions and things like that. That's my understanding anyway. Again, at the time of the recording, I have not played PoE 2 yet, so this is all speculation here. And once we get into the games, you know, this will change once we get our hands on all the different skill gems and weapons and stuff like that. But hopefully you're still having fun talking about this with me today. So that's your life reservation stuff. Sounds kind of sketchy. Next up, you have Demon Form. And I feel like Demon Form, like if you're playing an Infernalist, your goal is going to be in Demon Form, like as much as possible, which would make sense as to why you have all these life reserves. But anyway, Demonic Possession. This actually unlocks the ability to shapeshift into a demon. It's going to boost the power of your spells, and you gain Demon Flame every second that you're in Demon Form. Demon Flame is a really important mechanic here. What this is going to do, it will cause your life to be lost at an increasing rate. Now you're going to go back into human form if your life reaches 0. You can, or if you use a skill that is not a spell, or if you reactivate. So there's different ways to get out of this demon form. Now, if you think about this, every second you're going to be gaining a stack of demon form. And there's no cap on that unless you pick up Master Darkness. You can cap it out at 10. So after 10 seconds, you've reached your limit, which you're going to want to do that. Otherwise, it's going to go 11, 12, way up, and you're not going to be able to stay in demon form. So you'll have to have both of these, I feel like, if you're going Infernalist. Next up, we have Pyromantic Pact. This one's pretty crazy. Maximum mana is replaced by maximum Infernal Flame. So it's Infernal Flame is going to be a new resource that you'll unlock with this. And it's going to be an interesting balancing act, I feel like, here. So what it is you, instead of spending mana to cast spells, you're going to gain Infernal Flame when you use your different abilities and stuff like that. Now, when that Infernal Flame reaches the maximum, so if you're spending a lot of it, using a lot of it, filling up that fire meter, that Infernal Flame meter, whatever, once you hit max, you will take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage. So you'll start kind of taking fire damage there. And maybe that's why you'd want to find ways to get really high fire resistance as well, so you can kind of help negate that. But once you reach maximum, you're not only taking that damage, you're also going to lose all of your Infernal Flame. And you don't really want that to happen, because there's another thing down here that we'll talk about. But 10% of Infernal Flame lost per second if you haven't gained any in the past 2 seconds. So you're going to want to be, using it, but also not overusing this resource as well. So Bringer Flame. While you are not low on Infernal Flame, all damage from you and allies in your presence contribute to the ignite chance and ignite magnitude. So while you're not low, and I think low, and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I think it's either 30 or 50%. So as long as you're above that threshold, you're going to be giving out that ignite chance and magnitude buff. So you want to make sure you're using it, but not so much that you take damage and lose it all. It's really going to be a weird balancing act, I think. Over here on Seething Body, while you have high Infernal Flame, so I'm assuming above 50%, you and your allies will gain 20% of damage as fire damage. So again, you want high, but you don't want it to be maximum. So you're really going to have to be trying to balance that out. I think it's going to be interesting, and I think we'll find some pretty fun builds with this. And here's the part I was excited for. You can turn it into a demon. Sure, that's cool, but you can get a Loyal Hellhound. This is an ability it's a minion ability. It's going to make it so that 20% of the damage you take is redirected to the Hellhound. And on top of that, this Hellhound will ignite things near it as well. So if you're applying all these buffs, and I believe this would count as an ally as well, you can buff it up, their fire damage and stuff like that. But this thing can die, and it looks like you have to revive it when it dies. So we'll just have to see how viable it really is, like late end game. Last but not least, we have Grinning Immolation. You're going to become ignited when you deal a critical hit. It will take 15% of your life and energy shield as fire damage per second, but you get 30% more crit damage bonus. So this is going to be, again, interesting when you're in that demon form. And I feel like the key for the Infernalist here is going to be stacking really high health regeneration so that you can, stay in demon form and then also outplay that Grinning Immolation so you can get that crit damage bonus effect there as well. And that's going to wrap it up for this Path of Exile 2, The Witch Ascendancy preview video. That's the Blood Mage and the Infernalist. I apologize. I know this video was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I feel like the Blood Mage and Infernalist are a little bit more complex and in-depth than some of the other Ascendancies that we've made videos about as well. So hopefully you found this video useful and or entertaining. If so, don't forget that like button and subscribe to the channel if you think I've earned it. Please consider becoming a YouTube channel member today. Unlock some pretty fun perks such as behind the scenes, bloopers that I find while editing, and early access to videos when I release a whole big batch. It also helps out the family a lot. But don't forget, your view alone means the absolute world. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.